Hello and welcome to Your Story. This is a project for women and about women who are going through changes and who overcame changes and found their happiness, balance, and meaning. My name is Victoria Smirnova. I am life and business coach and I am mentor for women in change. This series was born from one simple truth. There are so many changes in a woman's life. And it's just a point of whether we go with the flow, whether we go with the changes, whether we change something inside us or not. Let's say what we do with lemon, something bitter or lemonade. And it's never too late to start new chapter. It's never too late to start living the life with which is really true for me, for anyone, to your soul. And each episode is honest and deep and inspiring story. And today I'm very happy to welcome Bernadette. Would you please tell a few words about yourself and about changes that you want to share with us?
Sure. Well, firstly, I'd like to say a hearty thank you, Victoria, for inviting me on here this evening. It really does feel like such a privilege to be able to tell some of my story, and that whole the power of just saying our story and being listened to is so powerful. So thank you very much for having me on here this evening. So the part of my story I'm going to share is how travel changed my world and my life. So I will say growing up, I always knew I had to get out of Ireland where I grew up and I had to travel. Mm-hmm. And anybody I met from a different country, I was always asking them, wondering how I could get there. So when I was 24, I went traveling. I started in Canada and then I went traveling, ended up traveling, left Ireland to go to a wedding in Canada and actually ended up traveling around the world on my own. Met a lot of people along the way, but the journey started.
It's very brave.
Well, it wasn't, because I kind of just took it piece by piece. So when I left Ireland, I didn't realize what I was getting into. Mm-hmm. And I suppose that's one of the pieces when we talk about change that I would consider being a really important part of how we move into change, is that piece of taking it in bite-sized pieces rather than looking at the whole picture. And in this particular instance, that was part of the story. So I had been nursing at the time and I had just finished my exams and I didn't even know if I'd passed my exams.
Oh, really?
So I went to this wedding. Yeah, I went to this wedding. And then as part of the travel, I traveled to Vancouver. And when I went to Vancouver in Canada, I landed there and I just realized this is where I want to be. I was traveling with young people and it was just such a feeling of being right. And mm-hmm. I think that's probably going to be the common theme throughout my story, of things just feeling right, that they may not necessarily, in an intellectual way, if I was to intellectualize it. Mm-hmm. I had a great job in Ireland and all of that, but on a really gut feeling level, it felt like mm-hmm. this was the right place for me to be.
So can you say it was like intuition? It's not
Absolutely.
Logic. Mm-hmm.
Not logic, no. So none of this makes logical sense. And what I would say is, when I look back through my life, Victoria, it's almost as if the power and the wisdom of the subconscious was the driving force, quite mm-hmm. unknowns to me, which really drove me into finding myself.
Yeah. May I ask you a question right here?
Sure.
My all consultants who gave me astrological consultations and all kind of it told me that I had strong intuition, but in reality I didn't feel it. I didn't use it. I was very logic, like when I was 20, 30, and I was absolutely surprised that when I heard that I have strong intuition. Maybe it was dreaming, sleeping, dormant. And mm-hmm. So the question to you, what would you recommend to, I think every woman has intuition. It's just Absolutely. Whether we are tuned on it or not. Like, what was your key? How did you know this is right or wrong? And For example, if I ask you how to understand if this is mine or not, whether it is right or not, what would you tell me?
Well, what I think I would begin by saying, Victoria, is when something isn't right, we know it very clearly. That's it, really. You know, I suppose doors would be closing around us. It doesn't seem as if things are happening coherently. Whereas in my own experience, when things feel right, no matter how small the decisions are, there's just an innate feeling of, oh, it's almost like it's a place to rest. Oh, this feels right. Now, it's not always comfortable, but there's something about, for me, when I go into what's right, that just feels, oh, I know it's right. I know it in my heart. I know it in my whole system that this is the right thing for me. It's like you know, it's that real feeling of settling into something that just tasting it, just getting a sense that this is right. Then noticing how doors open.
So it's also ability and skill to wait, not to push,
absolutely,
but to
wait. Yeah, and also that ability to stand back and observe what's going on.
You found yourself in Vancouver, in Canada, and you out of sudden understood or felt that this is my place.
This was my place.
And then?
And I stood in a phone box. I got a newspaper and I started to look up jobs as a nanny. And I got a job as a nanny. And when I was nannying, I decided that I would do my nursing exam in Canada if I ever wanted to go back and work there again. And when I was doing my nursing exam, I met a woman from Bermuda. And she had the same nursing qualifications as I had, which was learning disability and psychiatric nursing. And she was working in Bermuda. And I thought, oh, Bermuda, that sounds absolutely lovely. I'd love to go there
romantic.
Sometime. Absolutely. Image we all get, you know, pantries and useful life sitting on the beach all day, which of course is not how it is. But so I met her and I somehow posted that back there in my mind. And I continued then. I went to Australia and I traveled a lot of the time. And I came home and I worked in Ireland for 18 months. I was actually back, you know, about a year, and I thought, you know something, I need to go again. I need to do some more traveling. I'm not done. And then I decided I would apply for a job nursing in Bermuda. And that was really, it was stepping completely into the unknown. And yet it was such a huge life changer for me.
Did you understand at that time that that would be a huge change, or it happened with this change?
No, absolutely. No, I had no idea what was going to happen. I was actually going to Bermuda for a year to earn some money so I could travel. So I was there for 6 weeks and I met my husband.
Sounds romantic.
And it was interesting. He had a small, romantic, yeah. He had a small sailboat at the time, and everybody else was working that particular day. And I always say I was like the last one to call on. And I met about 34 years ago. And you know, we fell in love and we got married a year and a half later. 91, 93, we got married. Yeah, 2.5 years later. And that's when it really started to change. So I had been nursing up to that point, and I made a change because I just realized it was a really difficult working there. I realized I had to do something else. And I went and studied massage therapy. And that was really pivotal because I was receiving a lot of body work at the time. So it was pivotal in really finding a new relationship with myself. It opened me up literally, and opened me up to a total different way of seeing the world.
What was a discovery? What were your insights when you met yourself?
Well, I discovered, I suppose, part of my history that I hadn't been aware of. That was huge, and that's as far as I go at the moment with that. But I also discovered, when I went into massage therapy, I discovered different ways of looking at well-being and health. And that then has been something that has motivated my whole career and how I am in the world, really, because I've such passion now for looking at, different ways, complementary methods of taking care of ourselves and our self-care. So that was the starting point. And ironically, after that, I then ended up going into study body-centered psychotherapy. So realized the huge role that the body plays in discovering who I was and making decisions. And it has just been, again, another, really important, fundamental, foundational change, that relationship with my body, with my intuition, and with myself.
What was your inner changes, maybe in the, like you said, there were changes of values, right? Of maybe the whole mindset.
Absolutely. And I suppose it was like a spiritual awakening, really, for want of a better word. That's what it was like. I became aware of my higher self. I became aware of my spiritual connection. My friendships were, becoming much deeper. My whole connection with myself was profound, was much different than it had been before. It was more, I suppose I was just realizing how important that connection with myself is. And that's what I've been building on, all of my life to this day, really.
So you met your passion.
I absolutely love my passion, Victoria. And that continues to unfold in lots of different ways, just courses I've done and ways I'm being. And even now, something new is opening up inside of me. And I'm really excited to see what's going to come out of all of this.
This is the way we feel when we are on our true path, when we do what is our calling. And it's always widening, widening, widening. And it's also a sign that you are on the right path.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I suppose what's underlying all of this, which is really important to mention, is I was living in Bermuda. I really did not want to live there. I found it really a difficult place to be energetically. There was just something about it that just wasn't working for me. So I would come home to Ireland every year for a holiday. And as soon as I would land here, it was like, that feeling again, that feeling of relief, that feeling of, I'm home. I can let my guard down. I'm home. And that was always in the background. And then it didn't make logic sense for us to come back. My husband was in business in Bermuda. He's Bermudian. And I went on then to have 3 children, and this was ticking away in the background, my desire to come back to Ireland. So then when just after my second child was born, my husband was diagnosed with cancer. He went to New York for his treatment, and I had the baby in, the little baby born on my chest. So she was only a few weeks old. And when we went in, so I was with him just before the surgery. So the nurse that checked us in, her husband was from County Carlow in Ireland. The doctor was from County Limerick. The nurse on the field on the ward when we came out was from County Mayo. And that evening, I remember coming out of the hospital. It was freezing cold in New York. And I walked out and I was looking for something to eat. And I walked into a pub called the Galway Arms. And it was like, And just before my husband went in for surgery, he said to me, I think it's time to move. So it was one of those really profound times of all of these signs coming out that was the right thing to do. And then he had, just as he was going in, he had said this. So that relief, oh my goodness, great. Now we didn't move for 5 years. It took 5 years to move. But that was the pivotal piece.
So not only you noticed these signs, but your husband as well. Do I understand correctly that it was your idea to move, your desire, and he didn't plan to move until the obstacles changed this way?
So no, what happened was he actually said it first, and then as he said it, all of these things unfolded around, actually.
Oh, so they were like information for you.
Yeah, they were information. So when he said that, I suppose I immediately felt, oh my goodness, I'm going to be able to get out of here. It just felt, I'm going to be able to move back to Ireland. So there was a journey involved in that, looking for a house and trying to decide which part of the country we'd live in. And we were, searching all over, the West Coast in particular, we were looking. We ended up where I live now, which is down in West Cork. And it was kind of by a process of elimination. And this is totally where I meant to be. We were to come down and see houses. It was in August, whatever years, 2015. We were to come down to see houses. And we've been looking at a lot of houses. But this particular day, we were coming down to see a house. And that night, as I was asleep, a voice came in my head and said, look in this particular area.
Really?
Really, really, really. I had no idea there was a house for sale. I had no idea of anything. And we drove by and I said, let's just go in here and look. And we went in and there was a house for sale. And it was a Saturday, so the real estate agent wasn't around. So we knocked on the door and the guy said, no, we're not showing it today. It's a Saturday and we're not showing it. And we got into the car to go to see another house and the phone rang and the gentleman said, why don't you come this evening at 6 o'clock? And that's the house we live in still. So we found this really great house where we live now. But the other piece that's interesting in all of this, Victoria, was that everything in Bermuda, I had been set up. I had the 3 children. I had a lot of support around me in ways. And my husband was working there. So it didn't make intellectual sense to change. But yet there was a part of me that felt I had to do this. And I was working with Janice Thomas, an energy practitioner at the time. And I remember her telling me, no, you have to do this. This is so right for you. And she told me, so that was verification. And then the other thing is I really don't see psychics or anything like that, but I had this person that recommended this psychic in the States. And I spoke to her and the first thing she said to me is, oh yeah, there's a group waiting there for you. So the first night I moved here, I was walking down the street and there happened to be a sign for meditation on the street. And the meditation was about to start in 5 minutes. It hadn't started because I wouldn't have gone in if it had. It was about to start. And I walked in to a Saima meditation. And I've goosebumps telling this story. She has become my spiritual teacher to this day and has absolutely transformed my life. So I believe, and the community I believe that was waiting for me is the Saima community, of which I'm still very much a part of and very involved.
I would like to ask you a question.
Sure.
From what I hear, I can make, with different mindset, we can make different conclusions. And I see a story of going with the flow, with a good, deep connection with the inner state, mind, heart, understanding desires, understanding your these click moments, skills to wait until the moment come. But from someone can say, lucky she is, like everything went on your way. But I personally know that's not this way. It's hidden work inside that other people don't see. What I would like to ask you is, can you share a bit of this inner secrets, inner work? At some moment, you accepted this idea of moving to Ireland. So the wish, your desire to move, somehow transformed. Like, why didn't you start to move or plan or speak about that before your husband said, "Let's move"? You already had that desire.
Yeah, great question. Great question. Because I didn't feel it was ever going to happen, actually. It was kind of one of those, I think many relationships have like obstacles in the middle. It was like the big hot topic. And it just wasn't going anywhere.
So you had a feeling that it's not right time or it's not correct now.
I think it was more that the obstacles just were moved when it was right, if that makes sense, Victoria. And the other piece I just need to speak to is that I think is really important is I'm telling a story here. So of course the background story is that there was struggles and back and forth and this didn't work and that didn't work. It isn't just a straight road to where I'm going. And I think that's so important to know and remember, because when we give the story, we're giving, the end result that everything, oh yeah, it just opened up. No, it didn't. There was lots of challenges along the way. And it was 1 minute it was going and 1 minute we weren't going, and it just, so absolutely no, it's not this seamless path to where I'm supposed to be in life. I think what I would say is it's about stepping into the mist and trusting that somehow there will be something there to catch me when I make this decision.
So yeah, that's very important that you just open the curtain a little bit, that not everything was that smoothly and just came to your life path itself, but there were many actions, failures maybe, were waiting and so on. Once I heard that feminine strategy to move through life, to live, is when you have a desire or feeling how you want it to be for yourself and your family, but you're not pushing it. You're just waiting for the moment when everything is right, and then you go. And it sounds like your story, that when you're waiting, there are many things going on, and they're not that nice and sweet. But you have to wait this moment when everything right, and then they say, "Oh, lucky she is."
Yeah, no. I think that's really important to actually really address that part, because that is it. It's not. Of course, there's lots of, if I go right back, that when I went to Vancouver, believe me, I wasn't just, I didn't just get the job straight away. There's so many ups and downs along the way. Absolutely. But for the
here's
purpose
another
of
question. What helped you to continue? What was your, I don't know, values or ideas that you didn't give up?
It's almost as if I would say there was something driving me from inside, that I knew this was the right thing. It was inside, that feeling that this is really right. And because it's hard to explain for people who don't have, being in Ireland and being where I live it's like my total life force ignites when I'm here. I absolutely love being here. This is where I'm meant to be.
It's very interesting. You started from your love to travel.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you say that your life and breath is Ireland. So, this is your base, and do you still love to travel?
Well, I'm traveling a lot at the moment, not for the reasons I want to travel, because my husband doesn't run well. So, I think, if it was to travel for pleasure, yes, I do like to travel, but I'm traveling a lot under different circumstances at the moment. So when I come back here, it's like my real holding place of just being in the natural beauty and the beautiful supportive energy of where I live. So I suppose the piece that you pointed out there, Victoria, is as I was growing up, it was like this, I had to get out of Ireland and then I had to come back. So there's something about my relationship with this country that certainly has been very much has supported me and guided me to how I am in the world.
What if we put it this way? You left Ireland as a young girl, a student, and now you came back as a wise woman, expert who helps families building relations. It's also like you brought your experience and expertise to your home base. It was also changed when you moved the country, like you had your business in Bermudas, and then you had to start from scratch, kind of, in Ireland.
Yes, absolutely. No, because where I moved to in Ireland, I'm not from here. I'm from Dublin. So I moved to an area that I didn't know anybody. So absolutely had to start from scratch.
How did you overcome this change? How did you develop your business in new area?
Well, I suppose for the first while I was actually parenting my children, so I didn't work for a while. And then actually in the middle, I went in about 2015, I went back to college. And that was the start. So that was the piece when I went back and trained as studied relationship mentoring. That was the piece that brought all my previous learnings together.
I see.
So to speak. So my body-centered psychotherapy, my massage therapy, my nursing, it just brought all of it together into this. So that was the glue that brought everything, and that supported me in building a community and gave me skills then that I could use, that were recognized in Ireland and I could use here. So it was like just bringing it all together.
What made you to decide to go studying again?
Oh, that great question. Oh gosh, that was just something again. It was like this. Yeah, I didn't feel complete. That's how I suppose I could describe it. Because when I left school, when we went to nursing school, it wasn't a degree program. It was, you went to nursing school, and I always had wanted to go to college. And this, even when I moved back, it was something I want to go to college when I moved back to Ireland. So it was always there. And then, so there was two particular courses I was looking at, and I was at a SIMA event actually. And one person from each of these courses sat down beside me, and I knew the energy of the person who was from the course, the relationship counseling course. It just felt so much softer and so much right for me. So that's what started that. And I went, and it's just been it has supported the teachings and the learnings, and that has supported me being in so many ways in all of my relationships, as a parent, as a relationship mentor. They've just given me a different perspective and a supportive. So it's really supported everything I've known so far and given me some new perspectives as well.
So it was again this feeling.
It really, yeah, it's like this fire, this need, this.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I think that we all have these feelings, these inner signs, these sparkles, but not all of us trust it and follow it.
Yeah. And what I will say to that, Victoria, is it does take courage. It does take a lot. I mean, I look back now and think it's 3 young children at the time when I went back into college. They were still quite young. I don't know how I did it. I really don't. But yet there was that part of me that was driven to do this and needed it.
It's like you cannot not do it.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. I cannot not do it. And that's the piece, actually. That's the honoring of my relationship with myself, and the honoring of my life's journey, and the honoring of who I am, because it just feels right. Yeah, you cannot not do it. I think that's really well said. Yeah. And I suppose the other thing that's interesting is I know when now I'm teaching a lot of meditation classes as well. And when I'm doing that, I can feel this passion within me, I've just come to life. It's what I love to do. When I'm sitting in groups, and it's the feeling is just so, it's like this hunger is fed within me.
Like it's 100% living.
Absolutely. I just feel so open and just ready and alive, and 100% living. Yeah, that's what I feel. And just embodied and right, and yeah.
Right at this moment, I wish every woman to catch this feeling anytime, any moment, when you feel it, like this sparkle, this enthusiasm, hunger, as you said, then just fix it for yourself. If you can't change it now, if you can't move to it now, but fix it for yourself, the time will come and you will understand this moment. But it's just that you were fixed on what you want and what you feel right for you. And that's why you could see these windows of possibilities.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the piece I heard you saying there as well, Victoria, which I think is really important, is just to notice when you feel passionate about something. Because I notice, like, when I'm talking about something I'm passionate about, I'm completely different than if I'm talking about something that's, you know, that's not really.
That's true.
So it's really following that energy, and that, you know, all of us, whatever it is, there's something in our lives, I would imagine, that really we're all passionate about. It's a case of having the patience and the courage, but really listening to the signs within.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, courage is also very important, because change means that you are stepping into something new in the dust, as you say, when you are not so experienced in, and it's like vague.
And I often think courage, Victoria, it's you know, the word courage comes from the French word for the heart, le coeur. That it's courage. It's actually, what do I need to do that actually values and supports myself? So that's where the relationship mentoring come in, to really support me, that whole piece of honoring. Because I think many women, and certainly I could speak, you know, I've grown up, you know, taking care of everybody else. And then suddenly it's like, oh, what do I need? What do I want? What are my needs? So when we take the time, when I've taken the time to listen to those needs, that's when things have just started to show themselves. They show up.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you. Thank you. It's very, very important and valuable and significant. You also said about your life now, how you live your passion through your life. And my question now is, this conversation, did it give you some insights?
Yeah.
Did you see something unnoticeable till this moment, until you came through this interview?
Well, I think, Victoria, what's been really powerful is actually just telling my story. And just, you know, remembering my own courage, my own power, my, you know, whatever that is, just remembering. And that supports me in, you know, in my life today, having that courage to make more decisions about really honoring what's right for me. Because no matter how clear it seems, maybe a part of me has forgotten what I have actually done. So to actually sit with you in such a beautiful, receptive way has been so empowering, because it reminds me of my own journey.
Yeah, and you know, this conversation is also about honoring your journey.
Yeah.
In projection, honoring every woman in her change.
Absolutely.
And I'm very thankful for that you came and shared. And I have the last question. It's not a question, it's a humble request to give your blessings, wishes to women who are in changes, who think of changes, who are scared of changes. Your inspiration.
Thank you, Victoria. For every woman who's in a difficult situation, or in a situation that needs to be changed, I invite you to go within and see what you really want for yourself. What would you wish most of all for yourself? And when that thought comes up, find somebody who will listen to you, who will support you in making any changes you need to in your life. And then, just like a flower opening up, piece by piece, just start to explore it and just see what happens within you when you talk about the changes you want to make in your life. Just notice your body, notice your voice, notice how you feel when you talk about what you want for yourself. But it is really an invitation for all of us, because we can, as women in particular, I think, is that whole piece of taking care of everybody else. What do I want? And embodying that. I often, you know, say to people, just for me, placing my hand on my heart, what I want right now. And start small. You know, is it what do you want to eat right now? What do you want to do? What walk do you want to take? What do you want to, how do you take care of yourself? All of that, just really starting in small ways to listen to what you want for yourself. And I know from there, so much can just come into fruition, and the rest will just flow, and trusting. But finding really good people around you to support you in your endeavors. Thank you. And good luck. Best of luck with it all, because it is and it's the best gift we can give ourselves and those around us. because I think when we're living that from that place of passion, everybody else feels it.
Thank you, dear Bernadette.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's really very important and very powerful for each woman. And I am grateful for everyone who will listen to this interview and take as much as they can and put it in their life.
Absolutely. And honor what's right for them, not anybody else. Just honor, really.
Yeah.
If the people don't agree with it, just really honoring what's right for you.
Yeah. 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 And it's really about honoring ourselves and others. And that you said that find someone who will listen to you with the exception and love. It's very crucial for women.
Yes.
There is a very popular saying now that every woman needs another woman. I love it very much. And it really has a profound foundation behind it, because only woman can understand woman and can give this support to each other. That's why all these women circles and women groups are so potential.
And even within Victoria, within women, I would say to find the right woman.
Absolutely.
So when you're going to, choose carefully who you're going to share your dream with. Yeah. Somebody who's just going to listen and is going to support you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who trusts in you and loves you.
Absolutely.
And doesn't have envy to you, which is important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so very much. I think we will finish on this point. I invite everyone to share the story. If you are the person who has the story of the changes, please write me and I will gladly invite you to the project. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Victoria. What a wonderful project. Thank you. And thank you to everybody listening. Thank you.